3 red diamonds of Kangleipak, the ransom paid, is our little tribute to Reverend Father Raphael, Father Andreas Kindo, and Brother Shinu who lay down their life in order to defend us at Nariyan, Imphal on 15th May 2001.
Circumstances leading to the martyrdom. The years 2000 and 2001 was one of the most turbulent times of the congregation and the church in Imphal. The insurgency was at its peak, and they were making demand on the church and all its institutions, especially the educational institutions. Some of the insurgent groups at Imphal Valley put demands asking the Catholic missionary schools to pay huge money to them to let them continue the missionary work in the valley. Paying these insurgent group means supporting their work. So, some of the Salesian priests, namely Reverend Father Manuel Paikada SDB, Reverend Father Kunnathird Vincent SDB, and Reverend Father Chadicheril Stephen SDB, and a few others received life-threatening messages from them, and they did not comply to their demands.
I was appointed headmaster of Don Bosco Lunching, Imphal in January 2000. The socio-political situation in Imphal at that time was really bad. For us religious and priests, especially from outside, working in our schools, life was really tough, frightening and insecure. Every morning when I got up, I was not sure what was awaiting me that day in the school. Will I be able to return to Chimarong, my community, that evening safe?
Towards the end of 2000, Father Sergeant and the assistant parish priest of Sugno, a very young priest, was just ordained, was alone in the parish center as the parish priest had gone home for holidays. One night, a group of armed persons took Father Sergeant out from the presbytery and shot him dead in the jungle. End of January 2001, Father Tommy, principal of Catholic School Kanchipur, was shot at and fatally wounded in the school campus. Luckily, he didn't succumb to injury. By this time, it was becoming clear that the group was bent on taking revenge on the institutions and on the fathers.
Even the people who came to my office, I was afraid to trust them, whether they were friends or enemies, whether they came to support, to help, or to kill me. I was not sure. As the year went by, we were not able to meet the demands of the various and numerous groups in the valley. We were at a dilemma as to what to do. Were we to sacrifice the principles and to continue the educational works by paying huge sums to these groups, or hold on to our religious principles and say no and to sacrifice our life, or accept what comes as a consequence?
The UGs had sent many envoys to have talks with individual schools. I too had many rounds of talks with them as the representatives were coming to the school office every now and then. Tension prevailed.
We were forced to take a break and move out of the place. In the month of January, when we returned, the situation had not improved at all. It had only turned to be worse.
In March 2001, all except late Reverend Father John Med SDB left Imphal at the request of Reverend Father Provincial, as the conditions were not conducive for their stay there. So the insurgents could not lay their hands on the confreres working in the schools who were unwilling to comply to their unjust demands. Their target was to teach the priests, especially the non-locals, as targeting the local clergy and religious would mean inter-community conflicts and bloodshed. They focused their attention to novitiate, a soft target, when they knew many non-local young members were present there.
Those of us who were working in the schools were asked to leave Imphal for our safety. At that time, we never thought those who were not in the school were at risk, especially our confreres and the novices and the young kids.
So they decided to teach a lesson by attacking the novitiate, although the community had nothing to do with the schools and its activities. This was very evident from their conversation with the martyrs. They were afraid to touch the novices from Manipur and Nagaland, as it would create a lot of difficulties for them as well. They demanded for all non-locals Reverend Father Raphael Paliyekara SDB. Father Raphael was born on 10th April 1955 at Chiaram, under the then Ullur parish in the Trichur diocese in the state of Kerala in India, to P.V. Varuni and Mariam Kuti of Paliyekara family.
Father Raphael, hailing from Chiaram, Trichur, was the third son among 4 brothers. He had 2 sisters, one of whom was a nun. And in his family, those 3 brothers were always respected in the church because they were the trustees in different times, playing a leadership role wherever they were. And their wives, his sister-in-laws, were all catechism teachers in the church. Even now, their own children, his nephews and niece, continue this tradition. And his mother and father, they always came to Ullur church.
After his initial schooling at Chiaram, he joined the Salesian aspirantate at Vadudala in 1969, and in the year 1970 he arrived at Shillong to pursue his high school and pre-university studies at Savio Juniorate, Maulai.
I was privileged to be joining him in Ernakulam in June of 1969, way back. And what was interesting was, he was PV and I was also PV, our initials. And that brought us close in many ways, often in some mistakes too. We were the 2 tall guys in the group, and we would get places in the study hall and games quite close to each other. Raphael, right from the start of his Salesian life, he exemplified himself by being very devout. I recall, sort of with jealousy, that he would love to show that he had a very special devotion to our Blessed Mother.
He made his first profession on 24th May 1976 and became a member of the Salesian congregation. He completed his post-novitiate training as well as his graduation in 1979 at Salesian College, Darjeeling.
He always distinguished himself also as a young Salesian friend, as someone who would be very committed, and he was serious about his stuff. So much so in our group, wherever we were, whether it was Junior Ed or Sunnyside or Sonada, back in Theology, whenever there was some responsible work, we knew Raphael is the one. We call him Rafi.
He spent his years of practical training at Don Bosco School, Dibruga, and pronounced his final vows on the feast of Mary Help of Christians on 24th May 1982. He completed his theological training at Sacred Heart Theological College, Shillong, and was ordained a priest on 29 December 1984. He was appointed at Ruahom Johat as the Dean of Studies, commonly known as the Counselor, in 1985. In 1991, he was transferred to Don Bosco School, Dibruga, as Assistant Headmaster and Counselor of the aspirants. In 1993, he was appointed Headmaster of Don Bosco High School, Dibruga, Assam. From 1996 to 1999, he did specialization in formation pedagogy at the Salesian Pontifical University, Rome, and later went to Kent, England, for training in human growth and development. On his return to India in October 1999, he was appointed lecturer and librarian at Salesian College, Dimapur. In July 2000, he was appointed novice master at Nariyan, Imphal, Manipur.
What inspired me most in Father Raphael was his simplicity and that unassuming way of dealing with the novices, dealing with each and every one of us. He was always ready to share his own experience of formation, and he was kind of a true guide, a true leader who is willing to take that extra mile with us.
Reverend Father Andreas Kindo. Father Andreas Kindo was born on 2nd December 1969 to Mr. Albinus Kindo and Mariam Lekra at Chari Munda in Kurdek parish belonging to the Diocese of Simdaga in Jharkhand.
He was the youngest in the family. He had one elder sister Jacinta and a brother Telesphore. His father Albinus died when he was very young. His mother Mariam Lakra had a very hard time in looking after the three siblings.
We had a large family. He has to face many challenges and difficulties in life, but he was never sad. He always remained serene and cheerful.
His uncle Lazarus Kindo was a good man, social-minded and a leader in the locality. He came forward and took upon himself the full responsibility of looking after the children and the mother. Some years later, the mother decided to remarry and moved to another village, Harain. The 3 children grew up in the uncle's family.
He passed his Bihar secondary school examination in the second division in 1985 from Nirmala High School, Kalijor. He had expressed his great longing to be a priest from his boyhood days. He joined the Salesian aspirantate at Ruahome, Jorhat, and completed his pre-university exam in February 1989.
As he came to the northeast, he became much more close to me. He would share every bit of his life as well as of the family. He took his formative years very seriously and was happy with his vocation. And I believe all his formators can testify to it.
He made his first profession and became a Salesian on 7th April 1990.
My association with Andreas Kindo goes back to the year 1989 April, when he came to Ngariang to begin his novitiate. He was sent to Angta village for his Sunday ministry, and we were not having good times with that village. Novitiate had to go through lots of difficulties. But Andreas Kindo went there with his winning smile. Very soon he became a very popular person in that village. He began to pick up the language of Manipuri. He could visit in the families very comfortably. Children would be hanging on him. Perhaps he was the only novice that was seen so much surrounded by children. And all were calling Kindo, Kindo, Kindo. So much so, one mother of the family named one of her younger sons Kindo. In fact, he was known as Kindo. That shows the capacity that Andreas had to relate with people, to be friendly and sociable.
He completed his graduation and post-novitiate training at Salesian College, Dimapur in 1993. Practical training took him to Don Bosco, Chingmerong in April 1993 as assistant and teacher. Towards the end of 1994, he was transferred to the novitiate at Ngarian as assistant and teacher to the novices.
After his B.Ed studies, having seen in him qualities fit for a material for a formation house, we thought we could send him to Rome for his theological studies, complete the theology, and later pick up some studies, maybe spirituality, something that would be helpful for his future ministry as a priest in a formation house. But unfortunately that year, the B.Ed exams got delayed. Andreas told me, "Father, if you allow me, I would like to go for my theological studies now itself, and I shall go to Shillong to do my studies." So we sent him to Shillong. He did not go to Rome.
He completed his theological studies at Sacred Heart Theological College, Shillong, and was ordained a priest on 25th April 2000. In May 2000, Father Kindo was appointed as Assistant Headmaster, Counselor, and Assistant Parish Priest at Don Bosco, Chingmerong, Imphal in the state of Manipur. He had a working knowledge of Manipuri, the language spoken in Manipur.
on 8 December 2000 when we met at Tinsukia for the first profession of niece Kiran Kindo MSMSc, I asked him, "How are you?" Which he replied saying, "You will have to come to bury me."
He was transferred to the Salesian novitiate at Narayan in April 2001.
Father Andreas Kindo was a person with a pleasant personality. He had a pleasant word for every one of us. He had a smiling face, and I remember him as a person who is the most cheerful Salesian.
Cleric Shinu Joseph Valliparambil SDB. Brother Shinu Joseph was born on 27th March 1978 at Chakkitapara in the Diocese of Thamarassery in the Kozhikode district of Kerala State, India.
Shinu was the fifth among 7 of us. As a child, he was always very pleasant, calm and caring. I used to carry him and he used to ask me if I'm tired or if he is too heavy for me, etc. His caring nature has never ended. I still experience his care. When he was in 5th standard, he moved out to live with our grandmother when our grandfather died. He moved back home when our mother was sick to help our father with household work as the elders were away from home for studies. Shinu would do any work like cooking, cleaning, looking after the young ones, caring for mom, but he never complained. Shinu was one of the best altar boys at our parish. He used to attend mass every day with one of his friends who is a priest now. The parishioners used to talk about his pious attendance of Holy Mass and the readings. When other children of his age group used to play outside, he used to act as a priest inside the house. I still remember him wearing a colorful dress, shawl of mine, setting up a table with water, bread, red-colored water's wine, saying Mass. He was the most obedient, compassionate and loving child among all of us, a real comfort to our mom. His teachers always admired his patience as a child. His charming smiley face was his identity.
When Shinu was a student, I remember him as a very loving toward others' children. He was very service-minded. Whenever students needed anything, Shinu was there, forefront to help.
He joined the Salesian aspirantate at Jorhat, Assam after the completion of his SSLC examination in 1993. He pronounced his first vows as a Salesian on 24th May 1997 at Narayan in the Salesian novitiate. He proceeded to Salesian College of Higher Education, Dimapur, Nagaland for his philosophical studies and graduation.
He was generous and sacrificing. At Salesian College, I remember, on Sundays he had the neighborhood oratory, Nagarjan, Huda A and B, and Infant Jesus Hostel as his oratory. He would tutor the students in mathematics. Children from the neighborhood would come even on weekdays for tuition. Brother Shinu would immediately hurry for bath after games and he would come down to the classroom to help out these children. Certainly, it was a great sense of sacrifice and generosity.
He completed his post-novitiate studies with a first rank in Bachelor of Arts with English Honours from Nagaland University in 2000.
When Father Provincial asked him to go to the novitiate in Narayan as an assistant to be the novices, he was at first reluctant, but at once he surrendered to the Lord, saying, "Let God's will be done. Lord, place me where you want. Place me where I can be most useful." This is what he wrote to me as he had always prayed, and he continued, "I do believe this is a place where I can do most good, learning to accept God's will through my superiors."
He was appointed as assistant and teacher of the novices at Narian in June 2000.
Brother Shinu, an exemplary assistant. Brother Shinu was a loving and caring person. He was an ideal and efficient assistant. Like Don Bosco, he liked to be with us. We always preferred to be in his jolly company. As an exemplary assistant, he lived his Salesian life as a faithful son of Don Bosco.
May 15, 2001. In the morning of the fateful day, 15th May 2001, two men came to the Salesian house at Narian Hill, apparently for a visit. Brother Shinu gave them a guided tour around the house. They left soon after that. However, it is alleged that the same man came in the evening, fully armed with guns, at about 6:30 to 6:45 p.m., accompanied by a third man in a white Maruti van. One of them stood outside at the main gate, while the other two went behind the house and asked for the father in charge. On being informed, Father Raphael interrupted his conference for the 12 novices and went out with Father Andreas to meet the gunmen in the volleyball court.
Father Raphael returned within few minutes and told the novices that the day's talk was over and sent them to their study hall, asking them not to leave the place at all costs. The novices saw him going to chapel to pray, and then he went to his office and again into the volleyball court. It appears that Raphael took some money from his office for payment.
For about 45 minutes, the four of them were engaged in a discussion. The gunmen were overheard asking Father Raphael to bring out all the novices, separating them, the Nagas and the non-Nagas. Father Raphael told them, "They are young boys, why call them out? You tell me what you want of them, and I will inform them." After a while, the gunman asked Brother Shinu to come out of the house. He came out, and the conversation continued for about 10 minutes.
At 7:50 p.m., the novices who were in the chapel for their personal prayer heard the sound of a gunshot from the road. Immediately after that signal, the two gunmen sprayed bullets into Father Raphael. No sooner had Father Andreas bent forward to help Father Raphael than the gunmen opened indiscriminate fire at him. Brother Shinu at this juncture began to cry aloud, and the gunmen pumped bullets into him too. After a few minutes, the killers slipped away under the cover of darkness. These brave sons of Don Bosco lay down their lives for the sake of their flock entrusted to their care. They shed their blood for each one of us. They shed their blood working for God and fellow men. As Jesus said, there is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends.
When I think of how three confreres of Marian who were gunned down by these terrorists, I think of John Knight. He is the one who arrived in Marian after the tragedy. He landed up there around 11 o'clock, past 11, and he found the tragedy, all of them very distraught and completely upset. We tried to tell them, go and now, of course we cannot do anything, go for supper, but nobody was in a mood for supper. And finally told them, look, say your prayers and go to bed. So they said their prayers, and then he told them something like this. See, the gardener plucks the mature fruits first. They have taken away these three who, according to the Lord, was mature. And I do believe that what Father John Metz said was correct. They indeed were ready for heaven.
We were 27 of us at that time, consisting of 2 batches. 11 of us are now priests from these groups. Father Joe Scotty Thomas and me, Father Michael Kimba, belongs to the first year batch. The rest are from the second year batch.
The batch of novices who were with him that year, 12 of them professed, and of these 12, 9 are priests today. In no other batch do you find such a big percentage of perseverance.
The gift of his prophetic martyrdom. So Christ-like, so redemptive. I'm so proud of him because he, more than all of us, was indeed a saint. Saint Raphael, Palekara, pray for us.
Father Malikal George SDB, a close friend of mine, wrote from Rome, dated on 20th May 2001. The three are gone heroically, but for us, we need courage to live on. Amen.
The news on 15th May 2001 was shocking, and we are still living with the same shock. We know for the fact that Shinu is not with us physically, but we strongly believe that Shinu is always with us spiritually. My personal experience in many occasions are living evidence. I only have to look at his smiling photo, my difficult situation is cleared or answered. He only wanted to serve the poor and needy of this world, but God wanted him to serve both in heaven and earth. When a caterpillar thinks its life ends, it turns into a beautiful butterfly. Yes, Shinu has turned into a beautiful butterfly. Shinu, your smile and memories will never fade. You are always with us.
Father Raphael and Father Andreas, together with the brother Shinu, defended the life of our young novices. They sacrificed their life for the protection of the young novices. I'm sure their faith, their belief in Jesus made them strong to sacrifice their life for the young novices at that time. And I believe these confreres are enjoying the beatific vision of our Heavenly Father. And one day we will all meet them in the Salesian garden.
The children here go for their examinations. I used to tell them to pray through the intercession of Shinu. They used to go to the grave of Shinu, light candles at the grave and pray. Their prayers were always answered. Whenever I had difficult times or whenever I needed a special favor, I prayed through the intercession of Shinu. I used to pray, dear son Shinu, Mummy is praying for this intention in tears. In the seat with Jesus, Mary Helper Christians, and Don Bosco, all my prayers have been answered. Whenever I am in need, I used to call Shinu for help. I also pray that Shinu, who laid down his life to protect others, may be raised to the glory of the sainthood.
That's our prayer. We believe that they are already among the saints in heaven. Let's pray through their intercession. If you receive any grace through their intercession, kindly pass on the message to the contacts given below. May their life and example be our inspiration. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.